It happens to good girls too. Eventually, my sense of hopeless romanticism took over and I began to imagine myself and my boyfriend taking long walks with a child in the stroller, our child lying in a soft bed next to her parents, the proud mom and dad, sitting side by side as the stars get up in other bliss. By the time I left the bathroom with the little white skid stick in my hand, those childish fantasies were real in my mind. There was the day it occurred to me that my unborn child's father might not want this. After all, he loved me. He had told me. Native, my naivete, I had myself believed that sex was love. After all, I was a good girl, and good girls didn't sleep around. They made love to the person they were in a relationship with. Not excited about the idea of being a mom. Me, a mom. I called the father to be expecting, I guess, for him to share my enthusiasm, for him to come right over, scoop me in his arms, profess his undying devotion, and propose to me on the spot. Well, as I eventually learned the hard way, fairy tales only exist in those beautifully drawn books in the libraries. This was no library, and he was not Prince Charming. He was a 17-year-old kid getting a phone call from a girl he barely knew, telling him he was going to be a dad. Are you sure? Was his first question. Are you sure it's mine? Was the next. That should have been warming enough for what's to come, but I have always been a romantic and I needed to believe in love so badly that I didn't process his doubts. To me, they were just reaction to major news. He would come around. So we went to the doctor several weeks later to confirm what I already knew. Soon, at 16, I would be a mom. Soon, this tiny life will be in my arms. The doctor confirmed my pregnancy, and this time I decided I not have an abortion. I moved with my boyfriend and his family. I was to learn years later that both of our families felt it was right thing to do. I simply thought at the time that it was a sign of his love for me and his excitement about becoming a father. I continued to go to school and study hard. Around my fifth month pregnancy, when my belly started to get a little bigger and my breasts started to get a little heavier, the father to be and I started to drift apart. I don't think hit either of us until I started to show how permanent his was. Once there was the proof that we were should be parents, it dawned on him that soon he would be a dad and a parent with someone he neither really knew nor eventually truly loved. By the time the baby was born, he had separate bedrooms and we when spoke it was through his parents. On a rush of hormones, adrenaline and fantasy I still clung to the ever persistent notion that it had to work. We had to be a family, we had to create a life together, another human being, and that had to mean something. If I didn't, then all those careful fantasies, all these sweet little stories I had let myself believe were wrong. I mean, I would have to face reality that I was going to be a mom and I was going to have a child who would depend on me alone, me, for the rest of my life.